Hi everyone, let's talk about Transatlantic, which is from Matt Gertz, who designed Concordia, Navigador. Love Concordia, haven't played Navigador one day though, and I'm sure he's done more besides that. But anyway, so this is something I was really looking forward to from last Essen, and yeah, it's been delayed quite a while, hasn't it? But we're here now. So yeah, based mainly off kind of the Concordia thing. That's this uses elements from Concordia. It's from the same designer, and I think maybe I definitely didn't help with that. I think maybe that got a bit overblown. But you know, when you're going through lists of 1,000+ games, you tend to latch on to these things that you've heard about the game. And just from what you can kind of glean from just reading the rules and not playing through it. So the thing that it's got from Concordia is the basic, you have a hand, everyone starts with the same handful of cards, and that will change over the course of the game, and they go into your discard pile, and you've got a card that gives you all of your cards back. It works in a different way to Concordia, and the only way to get new cards, in Concordia the display is for buying new cards, and they've got different costs depending on where they are in the display. In this, you just get the card for free, but you only get it when you get all of your cards back. So it's not exactly the same system, but it's a really nice touch in it, and it's got the ship agent in this. I can't remember what the exact name of the equivalent is in Concordia, but a similar thing that lets you copy a card from the top of somebody else's discard pile. So you've got that kind of, you're wary of a card that you're playing that somebody else could just copy and really, really benefit them. So you're trying to hold off until they use their copy card, and you know that you're a bit safer to do it. It's got that kind of interaction in it as well that I really, really like. The game itself, it's cool that you start off with, in a two-player game, you start off with a lot of things in the dock. So it can give you, it can be really extreme based on just how the shuffling's gone. Some colours might be worth really loads of points, and it's a nice balance as well, because those ones that are worth loads of points, just because so many are in the dock, are going to be really rare in the game itself. So it's a nice little system that can, from the start, give you some idea of which ships are more valuable than others. That can be changed based on how many tokens you've managed to get in each column of your player board, and you have some control over how that's going to change as well. You can make sure that you can possibly, got confused there for some reason. You can make sure that something is going to get a big boost in points, but it's a weird balance between, yeah, you've got a couple of white ships, and I can make sure this white ship gets discarded, so all of them are going to be worth more points now, but you are giving up the opportunity to take another one for yourself. And at the same time, you might think, well, I don't really care about green ships at all. I haven't got any boosts on my player board for that, but this person's got a load of green ships and would really benefit from that getting one more point. So maybe I do want to take that, even though it's not really good for me, to stop it getting boosted for them. And the same for when you're activating regions and things. There are lots of nice things where, yeah, you are always kind of wary of helping out your opponents by doing moves for yourself. It's a really nice nice touch to it. The trading houses are a nice little thing where you really want to be there first, although it's not too much more money if you get there later. I imagine in games with more players, it may be more of a factor, because even though there are more of these, there are more of the boards, the region boards, they each have 3 in there, and you can only have 2 in there, but there will be more competition maybe over certain ones, or maybe you would all just settle into individual ones. I've only played it 2 players, so I can only really speculate about that. But yeah, in general, it kind of settles into, okay, I'm going to have 2 in here, I'm going to have 2 in here, and maybe we'll just get 2 each in New York. It isn't such a big issue. Maybe the timing of it affects it quite a lot, because like in this game, I thought I was doing really, really well by having the trading houses out early and really leveraging them as much as possible to get a big lead. But yeah, as it went on, I didn't buy enough ships, and the massive points for those at the end really showed. It wasn't too much of a difference though. Spoilers if you're watching this first. But yeah, there's a lot of good things going on in this. I have to say that in our plays though, we didn't really find it that exciting. There are definitely things that I could kind of see, oh, that's cool. I like this thing, but overall the feeling of the game didn't really excite us very much, and didn't really pull us back in. We played, I think it was 2 or 3 times at the time around Essen when we were just trying to devour everything that we'd brought back, and yeah, playing it again all this time later, it hasn't really been one that thought, oh, I wish we could go back to that. And then when we did, because this won one of my Kickstarter votes to be one of the next ones recorded. Going back to it, it didn't really feel like, oh, I'm glad we got back to this. It's just like, yeah, it's here. I can't really see anything wrong with it at all. It's another one of those videos that it's even worse to make. Like, if I can point to things that, oh, I really didn't like this really annoyed me about it. In the game itself, everything's nice. There are plus points to it, but overall, yeah, it just wasn't very exciting. It didn't really engage us personally. That could just be down to our personal taste, but on paper, I thought I was really going to like it and be excited about it. I will say there are some mitigating factors by that. So some of it may be, originally when we played it anyway, some of it may have been just the sheer amount of games. It may have suffered from, just too many, just overcrowding around the time of Essen. Although we've played it since and feel the same way about it now, so I don't know if that's still a factor. One factor that really dampened it is the rulebook, and you can go and watch the gaming rules review of Transatlantic for Paul's quick opinions on it as well, and he goes into more detail about the rules of the game that are not very good at all. The English rules I'm talking about, they're not particularly good at all. They're quite unclear in a lot of places, and it was definitely a chore to learn, and that definitely puts a damper on. You can kind of separate and see the game for, you can see the positives of the game and everything, but it definitely mars your experience when you have to kind of go through, plodding through and searching through a rulebook and searching through Board Game Geek straight away for some pretty basic questions that you had. Yeah, it just wasn't a great experience, and there is, depending on when you watch this, maybe an improved rulebook will be out, so it's worth checking out, because I know that one has been in the works, and again, Paul mentioned it in his review, that he worked on an improved rulebook with some other people, so hopefully that's going to be out, and that wouldn't be as much of an issue for you. Maybe that's still playing on our minds of just that really tainted our first few games of it back when it came out, and that we haven't quite recovered from it. But I think just in general, although, yeah, it's definitely got good things about it, it's not overshadowed by Concordia, because it's quite a different game, really. It's just got that base card play mechanic from it, so it's not that we're playing it thinking, oh, I wish we were playing Concordia. It's not like that at all. It's definitely its own thing. It's just that its own thing didn't really excite us that much. So yeah, at the risk of repeating myself even more, while I can't find any big issue for us, every time we've played it, it just left us kind of feeling, yeah, pretty ambivalent, pretty not bothered either way about it, which is a shame, really. I would love to tell you some big insight and some big thing of why you should avoid this, other than the rules, which, as I said, may change, and you can get through them. Like, by now, there's more questions that have been answered on Board Game Geek and stuff. That's a problem when you're playing things brand new. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing big that I can point to, and it's just not one for us, I'm afraid. Anyway, next game, time for it. See you to the next video. Bye.